Ooh, doggy. I am in a mood today, boy. What is going on, everybody? It's your boy Party Pete. Just kidding. It's Fat E. Got a hole in my roof. Had to drive an hour to work just for a 20-minute meeting and an hour home and deal with traffic. That was fun. Boy, what a day. So I got recommended this video by a buddy of mine. I am apolitical. I don't take sides, although I am leaning a little closer to one side at this point. I'm sure all of you can kind of recognize that if you watch any of these videos. But regardless, this is going to be an apolitical review, reaction, whatever you want to call it, to Steven Crowder. I'm familiar with Steven Crowder. I've heard his name 100 times. I've never actually watched anything that he's done. I haven't seen anything. I am aware that he is, MAGA on the right side of things, on the right side of things. But, again, I've never actually watched anything that he's done, anything that he's done. So we'll see how this goes. Was obviously a big fan of Kirk, so probably not going to have too much to disagree with, but we'll see.
White people are 12 times as likely to be killed by a black person any other way around. I'm just going to shoot you straight. It's not even close.
Where?
Across the country.
Ain't nobody coming after you. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody tripping on you. But these people in just as scared as the other folks. That
they are if they get on a bus.
Not necessarily.
They are if they get on a train.
That lady wasn't in danger because that man was black. That lady was in danger because that man was crazy.
Nope.
Whenever we want to ask for you.
Okay. Well, I mean, that is a very good point. I can't say I don't agree with him. It wasn't because he was black. It was definitely because he was psychotic. But it kind of seems like, how many percentage of the crimes are committed by how many percentage of the people. You know what I mean? It does definitely seem, in my personal opinion, from what I have personally seen, that a lot of violent actions are done, by black people. And I do want to make it very clear right here and right now, I am not racist in any which way, shape, or form. I have plenty of black friends. Love using that excuse, right? No, but dead ass. Like, I don't care what the color of your skin is. If you're a patriot, like, if you love your country, I'm going to be friends with you. If you're here legally, that's a pretty important part of it. I'll probably be friends with you. I can find a common ground with anybody. I don't care where you're coming from, how you were raised. You know what I mean? If you respect me, I'll respect you, kind of thing. Again, I have no issue with black people. I have an issue with Islam. I'll be straight up with you all right now. No issue with black people, no issue with Mexicans, no issue with really anybody. Again, unless you give me a reason to have an issue. So I don't want to make this about race or anything like that. It is obviously a very controversial topic. I know English. I just can't pronounce words very well. Welcome to Florida. But, I don't want anybody to think this is coming from a place of malice or hatred or anything like that. I'm very straight shooter. I'm a very open person. I'll give you my opinion. If you don't like it, you don't. If you do, you do. Cool. I probably, will be your friend either way. So just want to make that super clear.
Equality and fairness, it's a problem. So white America.
So it's been several $1 trillion. When is it enough?
We're the bird.
No.
We're the bird.
You're not
stopping white America from doing anything.
You know what? The bird just burned down.
We're the burn? I'm having trouble understanding. I don't yeah. Make me sound even more racist, Jesus. No, I'm just having trouble understanding some of this. I think the volume's so low, but my computer speakers suck. So.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody tripping on you. But these people in just as scared as the other folks.
They are if they get on a bus.
Not necessarily.
They are if they get on a train.
That lady wasn't in danger because that man was black. That lady was in danger because that man was crazy.
Nope.
Whenever we want to ask for equality and fairness.
I want to say too, nobody ever forget that shit. That's such a disgusting, such a terrible thing. And we need to remember that kind of shit. And the fact that her mural was covered up with a mural of the dude who did it legitimately makes me angry and disgusted. Not like my opinion truly matters, but boy, you really got me fucked up there.
It's a problem. So white America.
So it's been several $1 trillion. When is it enough?
We're the bird.
No.
We're the bird.
You're not
stopping white America from doing anything.
You know what? The bird just burned down $4 billion worth of cities and 60,000 assaults.
No.
There's 3 times to 4 times as much homework than the black kid, and the white kid does 2 to 3. Why?
Because it's culturally, it's conditioned.
Exactly.
So why is it better parenting from Asian than white parents?
They said it better than anybody because it's culture. That's what we're getting at with all of this, though. Look at that shirt, boy. Regardless, that's the whole point. Most of us are getting at here is it's a cultural problem. It's not a problem with a skin color. It's a problem with the culture.
Why?
You said what?
We're always having real talk. Why do young black men fight in packs?
I wanted to make a comment on that, but I'm not going to make a comment on that because no matter what, it's going to sound terrible. But I mean, you know, any smart animal in the wild roams in packs. That's all. I'll just leave it at that. You know, again, I don't mean that in a like derogatory way or anything like that. But when you act like an animal, you have animalistic tendencies. You know what I mean?
So a couple of years ago, when I started Black and White on the gray issues, I sensed some growing discontent, or more of a racial divide in America than I'd experienced in my lifetime, and it seemed to be egged on by legacy media.
It's sad to see a lot of people going along with it.
The American people have felt safe in their home.
People who had absolutely no chance of victory.
Hate and racism towards black and brown people.
And as that evolved, and for the first time, I walked into Stevie J's barbershop.
I think it's like totally beyond me. You know, obviously, I'm not in the group, but how are you still saying that everything's so systemically racist and stuff like that? Like, you ain't getting hit with water hoses. You're not, like, you know what I mean? Maybe that's a little tone deaf, but I don't see how you have any less of an opportunity than I have. Like, I grew up dirt floor poor, and I'm telling you right now, we all had the same opportunity. You know what I mean?
I really was looking to sit down and talk with, but mainly listen to real black Americans living the real American black experience to see whether they shared the viewpoints of a lot of the public representatives.
I like how you put that right there. Again, I'm not familiar with this guy. I've never heard him talk, but just from what he said right there, I think this is going to be a pretty interesting video because he's here to listen, you know? Well, if he does or not, I don't know. I haven't watched this yet, and I'm not familiar with the person, but it sounds like he's pretty open, you know, to conversation and to listening.
Now networkless Joy Reids of the world, or back then the Don Lemons, what they wanted me to believe.
I realized that CNN and MSNBC were full of shit.
And overall, it was a largely warm, productive conversation. I think served its purpose. You can go check out that video to see what it was like. Fast forward to now, and not only have things not really improved, and according to many Americans, they're markedly worse. And if listening is important, I noticed.
I would say, just from my own experience, I do feel like things are worse, but I don't think it has. I think it's more like Democratic fatigue at this point than black fatigue. There's just a lot of black Democrats, you know what I mean? So it's more like left fatigue.
That a lot of white Americans felt pushed to a point that they weren't even fully comfortable expressing. But for the most part, when they did, their communication was pretty restrained. Then it was dialed up to near boiling point with the recent cold-blooded murder of Irina Zarutska.
The unthinkable happens. You see Brown pull out what officials say was a pocket knife. He unfolds it, then stands up behind Zarutska. What we aren't showing you is the moment where Brown then stabs Zarutska several times and walks away.
And that murder taking place at the hands of a black man who was arrested at least 14 times and released.
That is unfucking real. You cannot tell me there's any reason for a dude arrested 14 times to be released. Like, man, don't get me started on that shit. The judge, all of those judges need to be in jail.
Largely in the name of racial justice, spurred a reaction from white Americans that, frankly, is unsurprising. And truth be told, for young white Americans, is understandable. And it would be doing America no favors to completely ignore the discontent of young white Americans who, if you listen to them, definitely will make the case that they have been vilified and asked to foot the bill for original sin or crimes that they've never committed.
So on that note, man, there's a lot of young white Americans too that, I mean, just, it's fucking wild when, you know, having taken part in all of this and having been one of those people that was, you know, all for the Black Lives Matter, all for all these rights and all this stuff for the different communities and all this. I used to be all into that shit, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm in my 30s right now. I'm 32 on Friday. When I was younger, I was as left as it gets. Like, I wanted free everything for everybody. I guess I could have been considered a socialist at one point, to be honest with you. As I got older and as I started to have to pay taxes, started to get paychecks and things like that, a lot of that turned really quick. I still have some opinions that may be considered left-leaning, but for the most part, I will say I do believe I'm more conservative at heart than anything else, but I am apolitical. I don't get into the politics and stuff like that. But having been, at rallies, having been trying to be an ally to not just, the Black Lives Matter music movement, but the trans movement, this, that, and the other, it is just infuriating to give so much support to people and tell them how much you agree with them and back them, and for them to tell you that you're not doing enough. That is what caught me completely by surprise. And I said, okay, then I'm not going to do anything. Like, I'm living for myself now instead of trying to help other people figure out what the fuck they want to live for in their, own lives. It's just fucking wild. If I'm giving you $1, don't ask for 10. You know what I mean?
They owe each of us $300K. So I don't care how they get the money. That's not my problem. I just want.
That's bullshit. Sorry to pause it again so quick. What do you mean? No. 95%, 98% of people never even had fucking slaves. I don't mean to sound, terrible, but do you know how expensive a fucking human being is, dude? My family came from fucking Denmark. I'll be the first to tell you, as Vikings, we certainly had slaves, but guess what? Most of them were white. It's just fucking crazy. Slavery is in every single different culture from as far back as it goes. And also, if you really look into it, do you know who was selling the Africans, to the Europeans? It was other Africans.
My money. A debt is owed. You owe a debt. You have to pay it.
And if you marginalize that entire segment, that voice of the country, that will lead to quote-unquote radicalization. And if this...
Oh my God, nothing makes me more angry than that shit right there. What the fuck is wrong with
entire segment, that voice of the country, that will lead to quote-unquote...
Who the fuck? Y'all literally didn't listen to a word the man said.
Radicalization. And if this country wants to avoid that, or at the very least, as we've done in the past, understand that there needs to be a major course correction in the approach to communication. That needs to go both ways. And that's why this time, I didn't visit the barbershop merely to listen, but to communicate a very real set of grievances that could bubble into massive consequences. This one goes a little bit of a different direction compared to last time. This is Black and White on The Gray Issue.
What a title. I'm already a little heated.
And that's Stevie right there, the blue shirt.
Blue shirt? Oh,
Yes,
Steven.
sir.
I met Cedric. I think I scared him. I think he was...
How you doing, man?
Hey,
doing all right?
Yeah, man. How you doing? Good to see you. I need it. You guys all have your beards nice and right. I've never learned how to do this shit.
No, I was literally about to say that earlier, though. I was going to say, look at how he is with his hair and his beard, and then look at all these dudes, all clean cut. Fucking the dude with the dreads has some really good looking dreads. I feel like that is an art, and you ain't going to get a better artist than a black dude in the barbershop. That personal opinion, but I can't do that.
It's because people come here.
You can't, obviously.
Oh, I see what it is. It's a power move. You have me sitting lower.
Yeah, so we can all look down on you.
No, thanks. Well, they said you guys got some people coming in here after the last one?
Yeah, a couple people came
They just
through.
felt like, I think this is a place where white and black people have conversations. So,
He's scratching his beard because he feels so out of place with everybody with their night. Well, just get a haircut while you're there. What you doing? Come on.
So, it was funny. The first person that came last time was he said this out of his own mouth. He was like, "I'm Indian," but he had on a MAGA hat.
Okay.
And he walked in and was like, hey, I saw you guys on Crowder. Can I get a cut here? Yeah, I guess so, man. Come on.
Did you have your hand on your piece? You're like, I don't know. If you come.
Nah, because he didn't come like that. He didn't.
Okay. I was gonna say, so good on the barbershop, because they're obviously not fans of MAGA. I mean, look at the guy's shirt. You know what I mean? They're obviously not fans of Republicans in general, but for somebody to come in, business, even wearing a MAGA hat, and for the guy to be like, you know what, if you're willing to walk in here, I'm willing to cut your hair, kind of thing. That's common ground, bro. That's what we need. We need people to talk with each other. We need people to just fucking find something where we can just be like, all right, bet, and then not fight with each other. You know what I mean? I think that's awesome. I think that I'm probably going to like this guy a lot. What Crowder just said blew my, I don't know about that. Oh, did you have your hand on your piece the whole time? That's more racist than I sound. That is Steven Crowder a white supremacist? If somebody could answer that in the comments, obviously I'm going to go Google that after I make this, but I'm starting to wonder now.
Had a backpack and the ski mask on. Yeah, he didn't have that on.
Was he nice? Was he good?
It's cool.
Yeah. Cool. What do you guys think, like, when you see someone with a MAGA hat? Because I know we were kind of talking about that last time.
It depends on how they present themselves. To me.
Yeah.
For me.
Well, okay. So, like, what would present themselves in a way that would be like decent versus piece of shit?
Yeah. How some people carry that air of superiority.
Yeah.
And if you present that to me, I'm very conscious of that. If you present that to me, I'm going to respond appropriately.
Yeah.
With the same energy.
That's just me, personally.
What would be like an air of superiority? Like,
no, I agree 100% with what he just said. I can't agree more with that. You got to respect me for me to respect you. And I'm going to give you respect if I'm the first one speaking with you. But if you speak first and don't give me respect, don't expect to be respected back. You know what I mean? Fucking making a rap song over here. But if I speak respectfully to you and you respond to me disrespectfully, again, don't expect for me the next words out of my mouth to be respectful. You know what I mean? I think this, I don't think he's like a bad person, Steven. Again, I don't even know anything about the guy, but I think that was more of a joke that he was making. And I think the ability to joke like that is obviously needed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know enough about him. I don't think he's fucking super, whites are the best kind of thing. I've been wrong before, but I don't get that vibe. He's sitting in a barbershop talking to a bunch of black dudes. You know what I mean? I don't know. Never assume things.
Just like certain things you say in conversation, and like you said, just in the physical nature of these chairs. Well, in conversation, you can physically go up and down and put yourself above or beneath. So when people do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I actually, when I do the change my minds and sit with people, I actually kind of slump my shoulders and deliberately kind of make myself smaller, just to not, it's like, what is it, the crab that has the red under its claws is showing danger? So I don't wear red, because apparently that signifies poison. But yeah, no, there's all these body language experts now, you watching TV, and I'm like, this seems like horse shit. Like, he looks to the left so you can tell he's lying.
Yeah, some of it is horse.
It's like, I saw him on camera, he killed his girlfriend with a butter dish. I don't give a shit what he says.
He took too long to say that answer.
Okay. He's growing on me.
He had to think about it. No, he's thinking about what he wants to say.
Yeah.
He don't just spit out. He wants to think about what he's saying.
Last time we talked, we were kind of just, and the reason was just like, often you see in news, people just kind of siphon themselves off right into an echo chamber. And I thought it was good. We were just kind of able to see other perspectives. Where do you think the country is now? Like, with that? Like,
is that an open question? Or?
Yeah, race relations between, because last time I wanted to get your perspective, and there's a perspective now in the white community. None of us are an ambassador for the entire community, but things have changed quite a bit the last.
That was definitely needed to be said right there, because no offense to him, I haven't made my decision yet, but I don't want him speaking for me. You know what I mean? I don't know him well enough. By the end of this, I'll let you know if I agree or not, obviously. But just like I'm sure the black community doesn't want this one singular black dude speaking for the entirety of the black community. That's wild.
Last year and a half, temperatures have gone up. But what do you guys think? What do you think we are in the country?
I'd like to chime in on that.
Yeah.
I'm happy you asked that question. There are a lot of social and economic dynamics at play that have certainly gone, in my opinion, in the wrong direction. I don't think that people really understand the gravity of where we're headed. We are vastly sliding into an autocratic regime here. And absolutely. I'll give you several reasons. You see,
I'm going to disagree with you on that one. I don't, to be honest with you, as somebody who doesn't get into politics, the guy's doing everything he promised he was going to do, except for the Epstein files, obviously, but hopefully we'll get those one day. But I mean, he's literally doing everything he promised to do on the campaign trail. So that's, if nothing else, impressive, I guess, honest. You can't use honest and politician in the same sentence, but you know what I'm getting at. And credit where credit's due. I can't think of a single other president to broker a peace deal in the Middle East. I don't care about Palestine. I don't care about Israel. I'm telling you both of those right now. I am America first, America only. You like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Sorry, but that's who I am. But yeah.
In order to have, you can't have a one-dimensional approach when you're wanting to continue to lead from a global perspective, all right? What you see here today is an isolationism approach which has never worked in the past because we don't have an understanding of geography and history, all right? And I'll just simply close by saying, you got to understand something. The rest of the world is grossly infuriated with the way America has taken shape. And not only that, we're ceding all our best opportunities to China, right? Look around you in the relationships they're fostering with everybody else, which includes Canada, Mexico, and they've even gone as far down into the Latin American corridor, fortifying their bases while we're still hollering that we're the greatest.
I can't honestly disagree with a lot of what he just said there. I do think it's pretty obvious that a lot of other countries hate us, but I think that a lot of other countries hate us because we're the best country. Kind of crazy that all these people want to come to this country and then don't want to leave. You know what I mean? But personal opinion, I suppose.
About China, like in the Panama Canal?
Not just the Panama Canal. Let's pivot from the Panama Canal and let's look at the long-term strategy they have now, where they just signed an agreement with Mexico to build another canal bypassing the Panama Canal. And when you look at the whole transatlantic corridor, where you got now Brazil and Canada as well as Mexico trading, and they're stopping in Peru, where China has a huge presence at, circumventing completely the navigation and the use that comes with having to use the Panama Canal. So we'll avoid conflict with America and just simply go around America is what's happening here.
Talking about China?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting. I don't know enough about that to have an opinion on it, but it does make me wonder what his credentials and qualifications are for speaking on such a topic. I mean, honestly, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. That's why I say that. I'm not trying to be an asshole or anything like that. He legitimately, I mean, he's making a good point if that's actually going on. So again, I'm not saying it's not. I'm not saying it is. I don't know. So therefore, I'm not going to throw my hat in that ring.
Yeah. No, I mean, I want to agree with the first part, autocratic. I think China needs to be dealt with, and this is the first time we are. I'm Canadian. Well, I was raised in Canada. Canada sucks. Canada is a dog shit country. Canada, the kind of shit we're doing, you can't do this in Canada. If you,
I'm just going to say here, I mean, if it ain't America, I'll leave it at that.
You say something too offensive, or I say something too offensive, you will be jailed in Canada.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Yeah. So I'm fine with the U.S. being the best country. I came here from Canada because, I mean, I have friends who were arrested. I had a friend, stand-up comic, was fined for telling a joke. I don't think people realize how good we have it here in this country compared to other countries.
But that's the painstaking part about it all, is the fact that, you know, I've always been one to say, and I believe this firmly, freedom is not a right. It's a privilege until you wake up the next morning and find out you don't have it anymore.
Yeah. It also.
That's why you got to fight for it. You know, nothing's guaranteed. That's why we got to fight for it. That's why we can't stay silent anymore. That's why we can't let people take over this fucking country. That's why we got to speak up. That's why this YouTube channel got created, because I'm tired of sitting by and just watching. I have a voice. It's time to throw it out there.
It comes with duties.
That's what I was about to say. It also comes with responsibilities, because while we free to speak and say what we want, and I went to Montreal a few months ago, so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Bet you saw a lot of tits on signs. That's all it is.
No, I didn't.
It's just strip clubs. Our Times Square is a giant strip club.
It was a couple of them.
Yeah.
But no, like there is responsibility, and like everybody's from different places, different backgrounds. Some of us from certain backgrounds know, like, running your mouth too much in a certain space can get your ass whooped.
Yeah.
Like, you free to say what you want, you're just not free from the consequences. Like, the consequences that come with you saying the wrong thing at the wrong time to the wrong person.
Yeah.
And that's where we all have responsibilities in what we say and when we say it.
Could not agree more with that guy. I like that guy a lot, man. That's fucking, there's, I mean, he put it better than I could have put it, to be honest with you. You know, freedom of speech, but not freedom of consequence. Look at all the people that said so much shit about Kirk, you know what I mean? And they're all crying because they got fired. What do you, I digress.
Yeah, the problem though, too, and I was kind of talking more domestically, the problem with that idea is a lot of people are offended by different things. Mm-hmm. And so people get their ass whooped for something they didn't say, right? That's the real thing. I don't know if you guys were following the stabbing there on that train in Charlotte, Irina Zarutska. Last time I was asking where you guys thought we were, you know, as far as in the country relation. Like, have you guys heard of the term black fatigue? Mm-hmm. Yeah. You guys know what that means?
Since the last time you came, that's the.
So I am wondering if they're going to use the actual traditional sense of the word or like the appropriated sense of the word that we're using it as like now, where my channel name came from, you know, the fatigue is real kind of thing. Originally, I'm pretty positive it was actually coined by a black person, and it was the fatigue of being a black person in modern day America and having things, you know, the quote unquote systemic racism and stuff like that, feeling fatigued of being black. And now we have taken it and appropriated it to mean, you know, fatigue of black people, like as a non-black person or even as a black person. There's plenty of black people. One of my buddies is going to be the first to tell you that I'm not going to quote what he says, but he doesn't care for other black people. But I mean, it really just comes down to how you act, you know, the culture that you're trying to cultivate. Are you trying to be a gangster? Are you trying to be a normal working member of society kind of thing? You know what I mean? It's the same difference between like white trash and rednecks. You know what I mean? There's a huge fucking difference there. And I ain't got a problem with rednecks. I got a huge problem with white trash, boy, I'll tell you that much.
Become a thing.
Yeah, I was about to say, that's just become a recent thing.
And do you know what it means?
I'm not sure.
I'm going to ask that.
Yeah, it's a term that's being used by people in the white community, by and large, again, saying they feel like they've been victimized and they're tired of taking that shit. You know, that was a girl who was dying alone in public. And that was a guy who was let out 14 times. 14 times.
15 now, motherfucker. Oh, you didn't let him out. I'm just fucking. I still can't believe that shit, man. It makes me so sick in the stomach.
Including violent crimes in the name of racial justice, right? He didn't have to post bail. He didn't have to appear back in court. This is not the first time he's assaulted someone.
How do we know that was in the interest of racial justice as opposed to just being
because the judge said it.
A fucked up attempt at justice, period. Yeah. Like, the legal system has its flaws.
Yeah.
Agreed, it does. But when you stab a white chick and then you go on to say, like, I stabbed that white bitch, I stabbed her, and you bring up race as the dude who perpetrated the crime, not you, obviously, homie, but the, you know, homie that actually did it. Like, he was blatantly, it was race. Like, it was definitely race-based. He said it himself.
And people have been making complaints about that for decades, right? But that's just, to me, that's a mental health thing more than it's a black and white thing.
Well, I'll tell you why, because white people are saying it now.
Right.
Not just white people are saying, hey, we're in the city.
That's what makes it a bigger thing.
Well, because, you know, white people are 12 times as likely to be killed by a black person than the other way around. I'm just going to shoot you straight. It's not even close.
Where?
Across the country.
Where? The
United States. I mean, we're not talking about Ghana.
And like,
yeah.
What I'm saying is,
Are you asking like New York City, California, stuff like that before you answer? Sorry to cut you off, because it's literally, like you said, the entirety of the United States, buddy.
White communities, or in quote unquote so-called white communities?
Across the country, the rate is a black man or person, because most murders men, there are very few female murders, 12 times more likely to kill a white person the other way around. And then you look at the average amount of times that someone in this country is arrested before they're brought in for killing, charged with murder. Do you know how many times they're arrested on average before they murder? 11 times.
Bro,
once again,
I was gonna fucking say 10 as a joke. Oh my God, what are we doing?
Justice system's got its flaws, and people have been complaining about that for years. We spend more time trying to fix that than trying to complain about the white versus black of it all.
Well, I think, just like I was trying to listen to all communities last time, I think this is something that's unavoidable. If this community, if enough white people get pissed off, they're going, look, we're living in New York now, we're getting killed in record numbers, or Detroit, 12 times the rate. And our system, 3 strikes in California, right? That was a 3-strike policy. The reason that was changed, they said it was racist. Crime went down in black communities 30%. But now people are looking at their cities going, this is a fucking hellscape. And the murders skyrocketed because people said in the name of racial justice, like 3 felonies, you're out.
Because crime is crime, right? But crime is usually going to be higher concentrated in areas where there's high poverty. So typically the areas that's high.
I 100% agree with you. Like, obviously, crime is going to be worse in areas of high poverty, but I don't agree with what I'm 100% sure you're about to say.
Poverty in this country are areas with people with this color skin.
No.
So that's.
See, that's exactly what I disagree with. It's culture and it's choices. There's so much that goes into that. You don't have to, like, live in poverty. Brother, I grew up in a fucking RV. Like, that's what we lived in. That was our house. Me, my mom, my dad, and my brother, my stepdad, but whatever. In an RV, 4 people. Like, you can get yourself out of a situation. You go work. You know, I started a job at 15. I was in the veterinary field for 15 years. Like, you can get out of stuff, man.
Why you're going to have that. That's why I said those numbers could be skewed and made to manipulate to look like, oh, yeah, that's why I said
not at 12 times the rate. Not at 12 times the rate.
In suburban neighborhoods, white people are not in danger. And that's what this kind of fear mongering tells them, is that you're in danger because you're 12 times more likely to get killed by a black person. You live in ain't nobody coming after you.
That ain't fear mongering when it's the statistics, right? Like, that's just factual information. And also, where are the people who live in poverty going to commit the crimes? They're not doing it 90% of the time in the poverty-stricken areas. What the fuck are you going to steal? They're going to the suburbs.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody tripping on you, but these people are just as scared as the other folks.
They are if they get on a bus.
Not necessarily.
They are if they get on a train.
That lady wasn't in danger because that man was black. That lady was in danger because that man was crazy.
Nope.
That man was mentally insane.
But why was he back on
family members? He had his own family members call the hospital to try to get him committed. He told his sister.
Then why did they let him out 14 fucking times, bro? Your argument is moot. That is null and void, dude.
He killed that woman because he thought she was trying to read his mind.
Yep. Why was he let out, though? And I'm not saying it's because he's black.
Yeah,
I'm saying people look at it, though. The judge said
part of black fatigue.
He's insane, right? We agree.
That's not a black and white issue.
He was deemed not fit to stand trial, right?
Right.
Now,
he should have been institutionalized.
Right. The IOU policy, meaning you don't have to pay bail. You don't even have to stay here until you're actually convicted. You just say you'll come back.
Right, which is messed up.
Yeah, the judge, Teresa Stokes, black woman, said, well, this is about racial justice. We need to be softer on crime. So that's her reasoning. That's why he was out. And you can find dozens of examples.
That's her misguided reasoning.
And that's policy.
But that's systemic, though, right?
That's not representative of a whole.
It's not. It's not. No, and look, we always have to say not all. Like, not all white people wear MAGA hats and are dumbass pieces of racist shit. But we have all been accused of racism, sexism, misogyny, homophobia. What I'm saying is black fatigue is white people going, you know what? I know I'm not racist. And I know that we're dealing with record crime, and I know that I'm more at risk. And they have negative interactions, and they're constantly told that they're not allowed to voice their fucking opinion because they're white. And if those people get pissed off, like, that's where we actually could end up with some kind of, I'm telling you, I see this brewing. I see people who were milquetoast white suburban who are becoming actually racist. Now,
I'm so glad that he brought that up because he is so right on that point. It is not even remotely funny. This is the same thing that literally just happened when I've never been political. I've been apolitical my entire life. I don't give a fuck about anything if it's not happening in Florida. Like, I like Florida. I love Florida. I love my country. I'm a patriot to the core, and I would die for this country. I swear to you on that. But I don't like getting into politics and stuff like that. To be 100% frank with you, I feel like my voice doesn't matter half of the time, 90% of the time. But now I'm trying to make it matter. You know what I mean? So again, that was the shift that I just went through where I was so, I don't care about politics. I'm apolitical. I don't care about this or I don't care about that. And then after Kirk got shot, man, I mean, a switch was flipped and now it's just nothing but politics. Like, I can't sit around and just watch things happen. So it has become, took me from the middle of the road to way right leaning, obviously. but it's wild because you do certainly see people who have never said anything about any other race, any other culture, who all of a sudden are weary, well, maybe I am a little scared, well, maybe I am going to get hurt. That's fucking wild. It literally is. It's I said it in one of the shorts I made, earlier after Kirk passed, sadly. You killed a moderate and you're creating extremists. Like, that's exactly what's going on here. I went from a moderate person that didn't give a shit to not an extremist, but I'm a very loud person. And I am all over the internet now between, Twitter and here, X, whatever it's called, and here. I have a lot to fucking say. So it is, it has been a just world changing experience. And I know it's not just America either. Look at, so.
Not all of them, but I've seen people actually become racist because they get mugged, their store gets looted, and nothing gets done. They're going, and if I say something, it's turned into a racing. I'm telling you what, that's where it's coming from. At what point do we have a talk and go like, okay, let's reform justice?
And there's no fucking reverse racism. Whoever coined that term should just be like, fuck you. Seriously, there's no such thing as reverse racism. It's just racism.
But we have to be honest as to why it was reformed in the first place. This guy, it's not even the only one. It's every 3 days someone's being offed.
Yeah, but at the same time, let's transfer that over to, there's a lot of unsafe things in this world. Like, getting mugged by a black person is not the paramount unsafe thing. There's school shootings, there's road rage, there's all of that shit.
Yep.
And the primary people that commit a lot of those are people who don't have this skin.
No.
That's
so
false.
if
categorically false, that's playing victim.
But if switch it over, if black people say, well, we getting fed up and we tired of all these school shootings and all of these road rage.
Y'all never stop saying it, though. That's his whole point. That's the whole point, is that we're sick and tired of being called fucking racist. We're sick and tired of being called this and that as white folk who really aren't and who really don't fucking care. But when you keep doing this, it rubs you the wrong way.
Who do we say something to? Who hears our voice?
And when does the white fatigue kick in?
And when does the white fatigue kick in?
Well, we've been hearing about white, that's the point, right? We've been hearing about it all our lives, about white fatigue, about systemic discrimination. I'm Canadian.
Boom.
Right? Done. That's the problem.
It has been done. Here. That's why we've done systemic justice reform that has led to more crime, right? That's the reason for no three-strike policy. 100%. That's the reason for cashless bail. That's the reason for catch and release. The reason for it, in the wake of Black Lives...
I just spilt my fucking coffee all over myself. I gotta say, like, that's a very intelligent response, and that is exactly what I would have to say to that too. He just speaks a lot better than I do with a lot less curse words. But no, I mean, that's the truth.
Matter, George Floyd riots, Summer of Love was, we're going to reform crime, we're going to reform the justice system, and it's gotten worse everywhere it's been. And then when white people leave those neighborhoods, well, now it's white flight. If they come in, it's gentrification. And I'm telling you, there are a lot of people who are pissed off, and they're not going to sit down and have this conversation and be real about it. And they're going, well, what happens when someone has to keep their mouth shut about everything?
Nobody tell you have to keep
That's how they feel. That's how they feel.
That's how I feel too, to be honest with y'all. You'll get to know me the more and more we're here experiencing these things together. But no, I mean, that's straight up how I feel. And I'd still consider myself apolitical. I'm not going to go out here and shout from the rooftops that I'm a conservative, I'm a Republican now, or anything like that. But I mean, obviously, I'm pretty right-leaning after all of this shit that happened. Look at his chest. You can tell when he's getting heated because his chest literally gets bright red, like rosacea red. Pretty interesting. He can control his anger pretty well, though. You can tell he's getting pretty irritated.
I believe white people have to keep their mouth shut. I think white people don't speak up about a lot of the things that they do and they perpetuate that affects us negatively. That's the stuff that nobody wants to, that the issues aren't made about those things. I really respect the platform that you have because you do have open and honest conversations. And I have to say, I don't believe that those numbers.
I don't know how I feel about this guy's response, but I wanted to point out, look at her shirt. I don't know if she's here for a haircut or if she's one of Crowder's friends, but I'm assuming it's the latter.
Because you do have open and honest conversations. And I have to say, I don't believe that those numbers about the black people murdering white people are correct. I don't believe those numbers are correct.
What if they are? What if I'm not lying to you?
If you're not, then I've been misled, and
You have been misled, though. What would be the purpose of him coming in here just to lie to you guys? He ain't trying to...
been isolated from realistic numbers. But I know in this country, from the time that we got here and until now, there's never been hordes of black people that just go out and maraud and menace white people. Now, interactions happen and things do occur.
They're called gangs, homie. I don't like this guy as much as I like the other guys. I don't feel like he's very well spoken. You got way too much jewelry on, homie.
I'm not saying that they don't, but not by and large in number. We can't be this small a percentage of the overall population and still have the numbers that people try to perpetuate onto us. See, black people do more harm to other black people than we do to other white people.
Well, that's true. That's true.
You know, so
because people who are close. That's true.
We also have historical evidence of groups of white people attacking and chasing black people.
So it's
coming after.
So
like,
when people
we have
say
it's not happening now.
So when
I'm just saying,
and that's the point. Is we're at a precipice right now.
That's a part of the historical condition.
Well, sure, but someone today.
Hold on. I wasn't finished making my point. I wasn't finished making my point. You know, when like I said, black fatigue, that's the newest mantra that's been put out into society to make people think that, okay, they tired of black people. They tired of what you said, that we can't say anything about black people. We can't do. Well, when you hold all the power, when you hold all the economic rights, when you hold all the things that make this country move, when you're in charge of those things, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know what? I put it like this. Black people, white people got the firecrackers, we got the stem. That's it. Y'all got the power. The power is placed outside of the black community. We're charged with all the negative things. Those are the things that are really generally coincide with how people relate to us. The bad stuff that's go wrong with this world is the black people's fault. We the smallest part of this country. Remember that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Beside the immigrants that come here, we have been tasked with the negative, the criminal, the immoral. That's us, and that's what we consider. That's white fatigue. But you know what we do? We just say that's just how it's always been. So we don't make up words for it or terms for it. So now you have a frustrated group of white constituents that feel like, oh, we can't say anything. We have to do this. We have to do that so you don't be deemed as that. Well, if you wasn't that in the beginning to start with, there would be no need for the further reform or the feelings that you have. You can't say anything about because you done treated us like shit for so long, and people.
My man's word salad is a really long way of saying I'm a victim and I'm gonna keep being a victim. What does his necklace even say? Big Mike? I don't fucking care, man.
People finally stood up and said, hey, you got to stop treating us like shit. Now that you want to feel like, you know, things aren't going in the manner that you want them, now we want the right to keep saying those things.
What if your premise is completely flawed? And what I mean by that is if we're trying to understand it, you said you have power in all those institutions.
Yes.
What if, for example, you have an entire generation of people, young white men, women, who if they apply to a college or apply to a job, they don't have a grant, there's no Pell Grant, there's no type of subsidy, there's no DEI initiative. As a matter of fact, they're likely to be passed over. They hold no institutional power. And when you say black people haven't done anything, when you think of this white person, a young white person, because I'm seeing some people become radicalized and it can become a problem. Yeah. And then they see billions of dollars and riots and damages all summer long, and then they go, why is this happening? Black Lives Matter, right? So they're gonna make that connection. Now they have no institutional power, but if they go into a neighborhood that's largely black, they're gonna get the shit kicked out of them. Yeah. And they're being blamed for something that supposedly their racist forefather did that they have nothing to do with. You think we're ever gonna have unity? This is the problem. Unity, if let's say your dad's a or your grandfather's a and you walk up and you slap his teenager, you now have made that person hate you for life. And that's what I'm seeing with not even my generation. Younger people are going, I had nothing to do with.
That's so well put. It's not even remotely funny. That's literally exactly what's happening. Yeah, I mean, I have nothing else to say. That's very well put. This guy's pretty fucking intelligent from what I can see.
This shit. They came up during the riots. They've come up under DEI, and they're seeing a 12-time murder rate, skyrocketing crime, and any proposals they make not holding institutional power shut down as racist.
Now, why was DEI even instituted in the first place? Because for the majority of time.
I'm going to answer that before he answers that. DEI was instituted in the first place because people were bitching that people who were qualified to get the job were getting the job over people who weren't qualified, but, you know, they were different. They looked different. They acted different, you know. That's fucking DEI, in my opinion. It stands for didn't earn it. It is what it is, man. You can't look at somebody who's overqualified for a job and underqualified for a job and go with the person who's underqualified just because you like the way they look.
That black people have been in this country and been free, we've been denied so much. Somebody somewhere had to put some things in place to provide access of some kind.
If you believe that, that's fine, but you can't tell that young white kid who had nothing to do with it that he should just sit down and take it, 100%. Especially when they're getting killed.
That's what America's been telling us for the longest.
The young white man
had nothing to do with a lot.
That has to
not in my life.
So they're all getting behind this guy who's obviously spewing bullshit. Like, he's not even coming from me, he's not even remotely the most well-spoken person here. God, I'm making a great case for myself. He is not the most well-spoken person in this room when it comes to the people who are going against Steven at this point. Why would they get behind this guy and not let, for example, dude with the dreads talk? He's a lot more well-spoken. He's a lot easier to talk with, in my opinion. This guy's coming across as not only irritated, but just misinformed for sure. And to be honest with you, he just sounds kind of dumb. Like, he doesn't sound like he knows what he's talking about. The other guy definitely did, even when he was saying like moot points or things that didn't technically weren't the truth. You know what I mean? He still sounded like he knew what he was talking about. This guy just sounds like irritated.
DEI, the young person of this generation that you said that feels they're misled by being mistreated by the DEI.
I'm just using it as an example. They don't hold any institutional power. Young white people don't. They don't have an advantage.
Not yet, because they're young white people. They have an advance to where they're middle-aged white people, where the power comes. See, what black people, once again, when you got colleges that denied access to black people, you can't come here. Something had to be put in place. Well, look, y'all got to let some black people come in. Y'all can't just
that started happening long before DEI.
But see, it
did. Long before black people were admitted into colleges, HBCUs.
Hold on, let me say what I'm trying to say.
My bad. I'm trying to make it clear.
He's trying to do it.
Bro. And that guy's making like all of this worse, in my opinion, for all of them.
Senior Wences and talk through you. So that,
well, because you trying to.
No, I get it.
DEI is just a new way of wrapping affirmative action.
Yeah.
Affirmative action had to be put in place because there was the access being denied. So the legislation had to be put in place. Well, look, we can't just exclude all of them. So somewhere along the line, they have to be allowed some access. Okay, that was put in place. Now, fast forward till now, those same things that are put in place for those people back in those generations that are still in place, they're not excluding people from getting to places they're just still trying to keep those doors open so that those black people that were coming through that door can still get in. Because if you remove those, over time, we will be denied the access again.
If a black person has lower SATs, right, and lower GPA, should he get in over an Asian or a white person?
Let me ask
you. If all things are supposed to be laid out equal, no, you shouldn't get. If you don't have it,
that's what's happening.
What it takes to get in. No, but
Homie's contradicting himself so hard right now. Like, look at this guy's face over here. He's motherfucker, what you talking about?
It is happening, and I'm telling you, young white dudes are pissed. I'm telling you.
The majority of what's happening.
It is happening. It is happening.
What's my boy drinking over here? You got that green machine, boy. I like his beard a lot. Think about shaving my head. I got fucking long hair right now, boy. My wife likes it. I can't stand it. I like this guy's glasses too, I will say that. I do think they're a little ladylike, to be honest with you. I don't think I'd wear them, but to each their own. I like it.
DEI has been more beneficial. I'm a former commercial contractor, all right? DEI and affirmative action have benefited white people vastly more so than black people. All you gotta do is look at the...
What?
All you gotta do is look at the business ownership or what have you, and you notice that as long as that white female happens to be 51%, then she qualifies as a minority and a double minority because she's white, she's among the minority in business ownership, and she happens to be a female, right? So you look at that based on...
So it's better for women, not white people, bro. What?
Population dynamics and that all...
Also, did she move to get out of the shot and now she's back in the shot? I kind of feel bad for this girl. She ain't here for a haircut. I don't know what she's doing here.
The man that tells you this whole thing about this whole thing.
I want to say too, like I'm obviously pro-life, but I mean, like I probably wouldn't have worn that shirt to this, but I wouldn't have worn, you know, this shirt either if I knew I was going to be meeting a guy to discuss fucking black versus white issues. So whatever.
About DEI was number one, not as much targeted towards blacks as much as it was targeted towards minorities, which includes that LGBT.
I agree.
All right. So when we talk about that, we need to really deal with the real crowd. And as it relates to the riots, let me tell you something right now. Listen, in the black community, I'll be the first to acknowledge, we do have intractable problems that are not going to be solved in one conversation. But what I'm going to say about that as well as the reason why the black community becomes so infuriated, all right, is when you see gross negligence of justice or misjustice happening and nobody does anything. Like when this guy kneeled on this man's neck, we're going back to George Floyd. Look, if he had done something when he was subdued and on the ground, what was the real reason for kneeling on his neck except to inflict fatal harm? What was it?
What was the real reason? Because he's a very large individual who threw his weight around. He was high on drugs and they were trying to arrest him. Like, I ain't getting into that whole thing, but it really isn't the best defense when you keep bringing up that kind of shit. And like nobody believes that shit anymore. It's fucking null and void, dude. But it always gets brought up.
I can tell you exactly what it was, and I can tell you why you're not recognizing the problem. Because the opinion polls, and I'm not saying right or wrong, the opinion polls have changed on George Floyd since I last spoke with you. You know why? All the body cam footage came out. You know what? You know why? Yep. Because he was there for 12, 15 minutes, asked to be put in the car. They put him in the car, asked for air conditioning, gave him air conditioning, asked to be taken out of the car. They took him out of the car. He wouldn't stop moving. People have watched it now and go, you know what? Yep. It's not what I thought it was. You know how many times he was arrested before that? 9. He shouldn't have been. You know what would have saved him? 3-strike policy. He robbed a woman at gunpoint with a child in the house. And so white people look at it, young white people, right? Who you have to understand, during COVID, this is a whole generation of people. White people did not have any fucking opportunities during COVID. They didn't get to go to the graduation, college, black, white, all of them, right? It's a generation that's pissed. Rightfully so, they got screwed. I think we can agree on that. They're going, I watched my city burn down for a guy who was arrested 9 times and committed violent crimes against women.
Straight up.
What?
Now, you know, let me say
that's a travesty of justice. He shouldn't be out in public.
Let me say this to you.
How many felonies does President Trump have on his record? Yeah, he was still allowed to occupy the most.
No criminal.
What did you just... Are you retarded? Oh, homeboy over here in a Trump hat, too. Yeah, I think Steven Crowder's definitely a Trump person, obviously. I mean, I support the president. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not like gung-ho fucking... oh my God, President Trump's the greatest person in the world or anything like that. I will say I really like Vance. I think he's very well spoken. I really like Hesseg, whatever his name is, the Secretary of War. I think that guy's pretty based. Trump is the president. You know what I mean? I think he's a good president. I'm not going to comment on him as a person because I don't fucking care. If he's doing what he promised he's going to do, awesome. He, in my lifetime, has done more than any other president. And he's doing everything that he said that he'd do. He's getting the illegal immigrants out. He's closing the borders. Like, I mean, it's just wild to me that people who voted for him are turning on him and being like, this isn't what I voted for. It is what you voted for. And anyways, to get back to the point, he doesn't have any felonies. Like, I know he's been accused of a lot of things, convicted, or I don't know about that, but regardless, there's no felonies, to my knowledge, or he wouldn't be the president.
No felonies.
Yeah.
He has no criminal felonies, but he's got moral felonies, which would, if there was a court of justice for that, he probably would be tried a long time ago. I mean, let's talk about it.
Is this where we all get on board with crazy white bitches who accuse women of rape?
No,
like, I thought we she accused 26 men of rape. That
Here's the reality, though, and when you look at the convergence of this new agenda, where you're going strictly into blue cities, why is it that most of those blue cities also happen to be occupied? The areas they're going in are heavily occupied by minorities. Why is that so?
Well,
Black people tend to vote Democrat, and they're run by Democrats. Detroit, you can look at it. You can look at Chicago. Is that what you mean?
I mean, no, that's not what I'm asking you at all. What I'm asking you is, like I said, with this all-out assault right now, just last night they were talking about something in Chicago, right? But 1 o'clock in the morning, you had people in military gear, what have you, helicopters and all this kind of stuff like this here, not just knocking doors down, but dragging people out.
Because it's the murder capital of the country. You just said black people are more harmed by this. We don't want to take out murderers?
No. I think.
What are you on about, brother? What are you literally on about? Goddamn, my chest is getting red at this point. My whole face is red. What are you on about?
Really, when truly was you're confusing what I'm trying to say to you.
Are you talking about the National Guard in Chicago?
No, what I'm trying to say to you is this, though. If we're going to talk about the problem, let's talk about the problem in its totality. The fact about it is, when you talk about white America being pissed, white America is going to always find a reason that doesn't fit their narrative or what have you. But what white America fails to talk about.
Yep, that's what it is. We're the victims now, huh? We're just playing victim. We're so just pathetic. Bro, that's fuck. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I'm gonna go pee and I'm gonna go make some more coffee. This is just getting fucking ridiculous.
And what never ceases to amaze me is the fact that the biggest threat is not going to come from blacks. The biggest threat is coming from within. You look at the average person that's been committing some of the most heinous crimes over the days. It's 22 to 29-year-old white males, right? Look at how ready they were.
It's just not true, man.
Yeah.
Violent crime. You just said, like you said, a small percentage of the country, about 12 to 13%.
I was trying to pause it right there because I don't think that's even remotely true. If you look at statistics, that's made up numbers, my guy. What?
Come from blacks. The biggest threat is coming from within. You look at the average person that's been committing some of the most heinous crimes over the days. It's 22 to 29-year-old white males, right? Look at how ready they were.
It's just not true, man. Violent crime. You just said, like you said, a small percentage of the country, about 12 to 13%, 50% of the violent crime, but the murder, a 12 times likelihood.
That's a skewed stat.
If you just, so you don't listen to them?
No, I said that particular stat is skewed.
It's not skewed. These are from the FBI, DOJ. And you know what else we look at? We look at Roland Fryer from Harvard, who conducted it, black guy, black professor, really respectable guy, honorable man, conducted a study, and he came out and he said, yeah, all of my research says that black men are 0% more likely to be shot by police officers than whites. Black people got so mad at him, he reconducted the study, a black man from Harvard, and he came to the same conclusion, and now he's not black enough.
That is honestly hilarious, and I can just tell you from shit that I've seen in my own personal life where people will straight up tell people, oh, you're acting white, or oh, you ain't acting black enough. Like, what the fuck? That's the culture thing. That's what I was talking about before, dude. That's the whole fucking culture thing. Like, it's not a problem with skin color, it's a problem with culture.
Wait, so let me see if I understand you clearly.
Yeah.
You're saying, according to this guy's statistics, right, that black people are 0% less likely to be shot by a white police officer.
A liberal professor at Harvard, yes, and he conducted it twice.
Liberal.
Because black people said what you're saying. He goes, look, I was as surprised as you. I was trying to find how much worse it is. My data showed me it's not. He reconducted the study an entire time. Now, he did come to the conclusion that an officer is 18 times more likely to be shot than a black man by an officer. This is a black liberal who studies statistics. At what point do you listen to him?
That is pretty wild. I never looked into those statistics. I'm not saying there's not other numbers on those statistics, obviously, because you can truly skew any kind of statistic that you want. There's all these people right now going on and on about how the right creates more violence than the left. And if you go to certain websites, if you they'll fucking quote these things, then it's obviously skewed information where they're 100% not taking into account a lot of political violence, just not counting it as political violence, which is just asinine. But again, you can skew results any which way you want. Just depends where you are, on that spectrum and which way you want it to go. You can do it.
He may be a black liberal.
Once again,
and I don't believe him.
That's skewed too.
Institution, and if he comes out and says something of the sort, there's no telling the backlash that he may not get. Listen, there are token blacks in every society. I mean, all you have to do is look back throughout.
And there we go.
Right?
Yeah, but you can't trust. I know the black guy said it, but you can't trust that black guy.
An Uncle Tom? This guy? Like, come on.
No, but here's my thing, Steve. Right? I'm not alleging that the guy wasn't Uncle Tom, but let's be frankly honest. How many shootings have happened in most recent history that have involved black men that have been unarmed? And you sit here and use that analogy that black men are zeros of times. Listen, as a totally blind individual, listen, I'm even apprehensive. There was an incident where the police stopped us, and it was.
I take back what I said about his. No, I don't. They're still girly looking, but I was wondering if he was blind or not because they did look very dark and very thick. So that does actually make a lot of sense. And I don't take back what I said. I still like the glasses, but I do still think they're a little girly. Not for me personally.
My cousin is a retired military vet or what have you, right? And immediately when we got out of the car, out of fear of possibly being shot, the first thing I did was raise my cane and say, "Officer," I said, "listen, I am totally blind," before we get out of hand with this, right? Now, I shouldn't have to react like that.
Why did you, though? You're saying you got out of the car and did that. Dude, like, if you get out of a car, they usually think something. You don't get out of the car at a fucking traffic stop, bro.
But when you start looking at what's really happening in this country, many times because here's the deal. I don't care if you put on a uniform, you can't legislate the heart of a man and his intent, all right? And many times these officers do allow that badge to give them impunity to operate and exercise their racism. Let's be honest.
I don't think it's a thing with racism, though, because to a certain extent, I would agree with that statement without the racism part, but there is definitely large cases of bullies, who will go out and become cops because they just want to continue to bully people. I haven't seen it personally. I'm in Lake County, Florida. I grew up in Volusia County, Florida. All the sheriffs in Volusia County, all the sheriffs in Lake County, all the sheriffs in Orange County. I love every sheriff department we have here in Florida that I've had experience with. Every single one of them has just been unbelievable. They truly care about everybody and everything in their communities, and they work for their communities. Police forces, I have a little bit different of a feeling on. I don't feel like city police and stuff like that do as good of a job as county sheriffs, but that's a personal opinion, and I'm not going to tell you I don't support them. I still back the blue. I support the police. I support the sheriffs, but I will, be the first to tell you that there's definitely people who get into that field of work, security guards, fucking military who were just bullies their whole life and want to continue to be a bully. That's, that's not, I can't deny that, but I don't think it's out of racism or anything. They just they do it to everybody. You know what I mean? Like yeah.
Some of them do. By the way, I just find it funny that when I came up and shook your hand, you didn't tell me you were blind this whole time. I was like, I must have woke you up. You could have said, dude, I'm blind. I was like, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. This whole thing. You just throw that out there like a cluster bomb. I'm like,
say you should have waved his cane when you came in.
I feel like an asshole in the middle of the room.
That's what I told you when you said, is he sleep behind the glasses? I was like, no, he just can't see you.
Hey, look, I thought you was making a joke. I said, oh my God, here's this condescending asshole here.
It's okay. He forget he blind sometimes.
I had no idea.
No, man, but
I agree. You can't legislate what's in a man's heart.
Yeah.
But you can't throw out everything. You can't go, that stat skewed. That black guy from Harvard who was always a liberal who did it twice, it's skewed. He can't throw it out.
How often do you see black police killing unarmed white people?
Actually,
how often do you see that? How often do you see that?
Well, I tell you, actually, the stats show that when you're dealing with armed white people versus black armed people, white armed people are more likely to be shot by the cops than black.
White armed people are more likely to kill police officers.
I don't know the statistics on that, but I mean, to be 100% frank and honest with you, I would believe that statistic, if only because, the cops are afraid to shoot an armed black guy at this point because they're going to get called a fucking racist. So, yeah.
So look at what happened in Kansas where those
let's call the stats a wash on that. Here's what I do know. Everyone wanted the body cam footage, and I agree. I was like, we should have body cam footage. We should have accountability for police officers, right? And we were to believe after the era of, remember, we went through Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Mike Brown, obviously George Floyd. There were so many that you could use as examples. We thought that we'd have a rash of body cam footage showing us the police brutality. Yeah. You haven't seen body cam footage of note in the last year. Once that footage came out, it's about a 20-to-1 ratio where you see someone getting violent with an officer. We have not seen what we thought we would see. And now people are going,
Police body cams completely shut the Black Lives Matter movement down because there is no way for anybody to claim racism when you have it all on camera. And it's obviously, cops doing their fucking job.
Okay, so maybe not the body cam footage, right? We thought we'd see all the abuse.
Wait a minute.
Reflects
Before
the
you
stats.
jump off of that point, what about the body cam footage where we see white?
I want to point out, like, this guy really likes to stop everybody from talking so that he can finish his point, but he also really likes to cut everybody else off so that he can make his point. You know what I mean? Like, you got to give respect to get it.
People and white police, and the white citizen is being belligerent with the police, but the police showing extreme restraint in dealing with that person. Whereas black people, we reach for your wallet, bow, you get shot. I got a phone in my hand, bow, you get shot.
And I'm
not doing anything, and bow, you get shot.
The stats don't reflect it.
But I'm just a victim. Bow, you get shot. Come on, dude.
But white people are being killed in record numbers right now, and they're pissed. And if you keep just not listening to them, look, like you said, white people in the majority of this country, you have young white people who are getting more and more mad. I'm just telling you the truth.
What they mad?
And they have the guns. They're mad because this thing. Here's why. Here's why. They go, look, I'm 12 times more likely to be killed by a black person than you are a white person. And you go, well, that doesn't count. They go, look, my dad's business got burned down.
Yeah. And where?
My city got burned down. I've been accused of being a racist, even though I'm not. And I'm looking at this right now, and I'm not allowed to have an opinion, and I can't go into certain neighborhoods because I get my ass kicked. And then you just say, yeah, but you've had systemic power. That is a surefire way to breed racism.
Let's be frank about that, Steve. Now, first of all, here's why I disagree with you emphatically, right? Number one, when it is historically proven when there are riots, and this is the crazy part, most times we as blacks, we tend to riot in our own neighborhood for the same reason why we're not 12 times likely to kill a white person, because of that.
Why do you keep doing that, bro? You keep saying that like he's not stating factual information, like we're not 12 times more likely. Like, it's numbers, bro. You can't just not believe something because you don't like how it sounds or you just don't feel like it's right. Like, facts don't care about your feelings, bro.
That the penalty is going to be much harsh, okay? If black people were really the kind of threat and menace to white people as we're going to sit here and say that they are, never mind the stats, there's no way in the world that most of us would still be here, because guess what? You guys will find a way to deal with the problem if it is from a multiplicity of angles, all right? So, like I say, when I'm saying this right now, when they
I disagree entirely, because there's way too many people who are afraid of being called a racist or who are afraid of even speaking up over anything because of that. That's fucking retarded.
We did deal with it.
Who controls that narrative, Steve?
We did deal with it. You know what we dealt with it in liberals in blue cities? Cashless bail. Cashless bail, catch and release. We did everything that was demanded. Defunded the police in certain neighborhoods.
Right.
Guess
but
what?
No blacks ever asked for defunding the police.
Literally look at California right now. Portland, Chicago. Got me fucked up, bro.
Police officers.
They have.
Well, here's the deal.
I will say it's mostly. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's mostly black women. It's mostly black activist women, and they're not representative of black men. I get that.
Just like the guy who killed the lady on the bus that you were talking about earlier, right? He doesn't represent Black America and what he did. I mean.
No, obviously he doesn't. But when it's continuously shown that it's, one group of people committing these acts, that's what represents the group.
Listen, here's where he does. Just listen to me here. Here's where he does. Here's where he does to a lot of people. And this is what I'm just trying to, because last time I sat and listened, but I want you to hear something really important. Here's where he does. Young white, that person's parents, that person's relatives, look at it and go, wait a second. This guy was out 14 times, and the reason he was out 14 times was because a black female judge, in the name of restorative justice, who has received funding from NGOs, said, we're going to have cashless bail and catch and release and the IOU policy in the name of racial justice. So people are going, my daughter's dead because it would have been racist to keep this guy in jail. You need to understand that, right? But you understand it, though, right? Because you just made those same judgments about people who existed 150 years ago.
Yeah.
This is someone's sister.
Her flawed judgment does not represent the opinion of black people, number one.
There you go. It represents a systemic correct.
Who? I'm going to keep my fucking mouth shut.
Well, let's talk about systemic correction. And you know what the problem really is? When you defund our opportunities to provide adequate psychiatric and institutionalization for those kind of people, that wouldn't have happened. Because let me tell you something, even as a black person, as a judge, if you come before me 11 times with all of the information that you provided me with, you know what? Before I release you, you know what? I'm going to have you committed to an institution because number one,
brother, that's the fucking issue. That's what we're fucking talking about. He wasn't. He was just released. God fucking damn, bro. Get it? Oh my God, it's like fucking talking to a brick wall, bro. I swear to God, sometimes fucking arguing with people is like throwing shit at the village idiot. Like,
the greater good is for me to preserve public integrity, and that's on both sides of the spectrum. I don't give a damn if you're black or white.
Why do you think they're not committing them to an institution?
Because there's no funding available.
No, they were shut down in the name of restorative racial justice.
And his family,
that's why he wasn't institutionalized.
And his family
he should have been in prison
too. His family pushed against it in certain like they were. There's some of them cases where they were in court. His family was saying, "Don't put him in there."
I know. And who gives a shit?
But I'm just saying that's part of it. But when you only include the part that says the judge, you're not giving the whole story, and that's what media ends up doing. That creates these tensions in people. They straw man conversations and only tell part of it.
No, it's not the tension is there. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The tension is already there. White people are afraid to go in black neighborhoods because
so should black people be afraid to go to school because a white person go come shoot the school up? Right. Because every time we see that, that's what keeps happening.
It's not even close.
But now you're going to ignore. Now you're going to ignore.
Bro, I get where you're coming from, homie, but that ain't the same fucking thing. That's.
I'm scared to go to church.
You're scared to go to church, but you're sitting in the barber shop with almost 12 black men. Come on, Steve. Now let's be realistic.
Okay, is he supposed to be scared of y'all? Like, you're. The fuck are you talking?
Who do you think's more at risk sitting down right here?
Exactly. He know he's not in danger around us.
I'm much more risk.
We don't do that.
Hey, here's an irony.
You know, I just watched my friend die, right?
Steve, let me say this. Know what bothers me about white people, and this is kind of
everything.
No, not everything. Not everything.
Well, we smell like wet dog or some. I've heard all this stuff.
Let me tell you what bothers me about white people. Let's be honest here, because I work.
If Steven were to sit here and say, let me tell you what bugs me about black people, I bet you this would be a whole different fucking conversation with a whole different feeling to it. Wouldn't be a lot of laughter.
With a lot of white people, so I have nothing against them at all. Let me be honest with you. But the problem the biggest problem that I have is that you constantly get bombarded with the excuses, all right? When you really come down to it, let's be honest, man, and let's be really truthful with one another. Ask yourself, what do you expect when you look at architectural oppression, economic depravity, and social disparity? What would you call it? I mean,
bad decisions.
Huh?
Yeah.
Bad decisions.
Bad decisions.
100%.
Yeah, I think right now in 2025, it's bad decisions. I think.
Fucking without a doubt, bro.
Everyone can make better decisions.
And you know what? I'll even go here with you. In all fairness, I think that's absolutely true. So my question for you is, how do we move past this?
Yeah.
You fucking learn a lesson and you move on with life. You don't continue to do the same things over and over and over again and then cry and play victim.
So we move past.
I agree with you. I agree. And I think maybe we'll find some common ground here. If we agree there is personal accountability and bad decisions, and I think we also all agree that feminist white are the worst demographic in the country, along with lesbians.
There's a great book that
I don't have an issue with lesbians. I have a couple gay friends. I have lesbian friends, so I ain't getting into that. But I will say, I feel like liberal white women are the biggest fucking threat to America as a whole. I stand by that statement.
It says that they were her product. See, that's what I'm saying.
Like, I'm telling you, like, believe me, I don't have a. Hold on. Let me just clarify, and I mean that. Angry white feminist bitches and lesbians, because if they didn't vote, we wouldn't have half of the shit. But, and this is one thing I appreciate about.
All the lesbians I know hate the, like, angry feminist bitches. So that's, you know.
Black men, that white men are so black men can talk about these things, and black men are okay being masculine. White men are told it's sexist. There's a lot there. Personal accountability decisions. Now, just take that and apply it.
That's true.
What you kind of just did here is you blamed white people, without realizing it, for systemic discrimination, and that removes autonomy from a white person to be accountable and also rewarded for their good decisions. So if we agree it's bad decisions, personal accountability, we'd all be against reparations, and we'd all be.
What a fucking take, bro. Like, dead ass, man. It makes sense, doesn't it?
Against the criminal justice reform.
I'm definitely for reparations.
See, that to me, you said excuse.
Of course y'all are for, all of y'all are going to be for reparations, and that shit makes no fucking sense whatsoever. That's asinine, dude. And to be honest with you, like, I don't want to sound like a dick, but half of your fucking half of y'all's families weren't even slaves, bro. So what the fuck are we? What are we doing?
Yeah,
that sounds like an excuse to me.
You ain't paid me back. You ain't paid me for what you owe me.
What did I take from you?
You can't start another bill.
What did I take from you?
What did he take from you, homie? Like, you're the loudest one here, bro, and you are the most irritating and the most irritated.
Hey, this old bill.
What did I take from you?
You didn't take but your ancestors.
But you just said you.
When I say you, I meant it as a euphemism.
But can you understand why white people hear it and get pissed off?
Yeah.
Because I can take shit.
But they not mad about the advantages that were built into their lives.
So you want young people to pay?
It
sounds like an excuse.
Nobody wants to address. And even without paying us back, Steve, know what my thoughts are on this here. Give us an opportunity to exercise our ability and our autonomy. Let me give you a perfect example. There's a gal right now, her name is Joy Reid. Look up her.
I know Joy Reid. She's out of her mind.
Look up her educational background. You don't think Harvard gave her a degree just because she was a black person or DEI, do you?
I think she's an idiot.
Okay, so
but not because she's black, because she's an idiot.
Okay, so you're entitled to that.
I think Van Jones.
I don't know who Joy Reid is. I'll go look that up after this. But I have, again, I'm not going to put an opinion on here that I have no knowledge about. It's not who I am.
Jones is smart, and I disagree with him. Joy Reid has said things that are so verifiably untrue. It's insane.
Okay, so as a man, I'm going to indulge you and say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to indulge you. I'm going to respect your opinion, your frame of thought on that, right? I beg to differ tremendously, but nevertheless, though, that's why we're having this open discussion. But let's really talk about where we need to go from here on, and that is the fact that black people have every sense of entitlement as it relates to having reparations, and I'm going to tell you why, right? Because nobody has ever been as more loyal to white people despite the treatment than black people have, right? Nobody.
I think my brain just fucking fried for a second, man. What is the, what? Oh, it hurts. I can't make sense of that.
You show me one race. You know what? They make options and opportunities available when other ethnicities come here or what have you that we will never get a chance to have.
Dude, I'm going to indulge you and give you other ethnicities that I would consider loyal. Is such a shitty word for that. I don't know. More respectful. Mexicans, Puerto Ricans for the most part. Like, what are you talking about?
Right? And then they turn around and tell us, stop asking about reparations. Whenever we want to ask for equality and fairness, it's a problem. So white America.
So it spends several $1 trillion. When is it enough?
Wait, spend $7 trillion on what? What did they spend it on?
Let's go back to Lyndon Johnson model.
Lyndon Johnson, you're talking about the war on poverty? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
1965?
Why was that done?
All right, but here's the deal.
What about the Department of Education?
Here's the deal. So
again, what a fucking point. Like, he's real good at making real good points, man.
So now you're saying the Department of Education. Let's go back to the Department of Education.
Okay, so my point is, these were. Hold on. No, I didn't answer your question.
All right.
The reason that this was given, right, when you're talking about the Great Society program, the reason when you look at the Model Cities program, urban planning, $8 billion into Detroit, adjusted for inflation, the reason that, and I don't know if you know this, black students in this country get more spending per pupil than white students. I don't know if you know that. That's an actual fact. Even in impoverished neighborhoods through public funding. These were the reparations that were asked of white people throughout each decade.
I was going to say, I definitely didn't know that about the students. But everything he was saying before that, it kind of sounds like reparations, don't it?
Given, and then we're told, no, that's not the real one. They were given, whether you like them or not, whether you...
They want cash. They want cash money so that they can go spend it on whatever the fuck they want. They don't care about justice. They don't care about any of that shit. They just want to fucking not have to work, bro. Like, anybody that would have the ability to not work, they just want to not work. And again, that's not like a racial thing or anything like that. It's just, you get all these people being told, hey, we're owed so much money, they're going to fucking brainwash into it.
Think they work or not. And by the way, I think they're dog shit. I think we should completely suspend the federal Department of Education. I think the Texas state could do a much better job. But those were done in the name of racial reparations because they were demanded,
Steve,
and now it's not enough.
Listen, you say that, Steve, listen.
But what was that?
You say we should suspend the Department of Education.
I agree with you, because it's so. Why would they do it correctly?
It's not just because it was done in the name of racial justice that it was done incorrectly.
That's the reason for it.
I'm saying that's the reason for it. But along the way of trying to achieve racial justice, you just did it wrong.
But let me ask you.
That's my point.
You say
people did it the way we were asked.
The reason it was right.
You did what we wanted you to do, but you did it wrong. like, then don't ask for anything to be done.
Your approach was wrong.
So now you make some 20-year-old kid pay?
No, but you came out and said something else. You said that you're against the Department of Education, right? Let me tell you
Federal
something.
Department.
Yeah, Federal Department of Education. Let me tell you something that has come up in a lot of circles that I'm always talking about as a person with a disability. The Department of Education does a lot more in terms of, even with the enforcement of Section 504, right? 504 says that you must have accommodations for individuals with disabilities, right? Perfect example of when you walked in or someone just walked in, did you hear what that thing said? Right, left. Go down to Austin. Let me tell you something. When you suspend the Department of Education, you're also telling the remain 36 million people in this country who have disabilities, you know what? Screw you. Figure it out. We don't have to do anything.
No, you're not, bro. You're playing fucking victim again. Me.
Okay, and this is another reason, going back to what we said with the Black America. If you don't have certain mechanisms in place to ensure that there is a fair and level playing field, right? Guess what? The controlling party that's in power, or what have you, are not going to say, hey, wait a minute, let's look at this other disenfranchised segment of the community or what have you, and see how can we provide.
I'll disabuse you of that notion.
Okay,
Let me disabuse you of that notion.
Go ahead.
Over $3 trillion adjusted for inflation, right? The Department of Education, early 70s. Okay, before that, they were run by states. Over $3 trillion. What are math scores? What are literacy scores now? In both.
Depends on what part of the country you're asking that about.
Correct. Across the board. Across the board.
You can't go there because I'm going to tell you why you can't go there.
Hold on. I'll answer the question. Because then I'll show you an example of something that actually works, because we need solutions. They're across the board down. In other words, $3 trillion, test scores are worse. And they're even worse in poor areas where there's more spending. Do you know where black students in New York City actually do really well? White Catholic schools, where they have more students per teacher, on average 35 plus. In other words, they have fewer teachers. It's done privately. Charter schools, school choice is something I support. That means for everyone in this country. Can't do it because it's racist.
Let's look at the academia, though, okay?
That's why it's being fought.
When you start talking about that, what have you, when you talk about test scores, we can go just north versus south or what have you. Let's look at the quality of education that's in these schools or what have you. Are you going to tell me that it's a standardized academic agenda that's promoted throughout this country? Or is it a fact that some people have a different education level than black? Listen, I work with people. They're bad.
It has nothing to do with race. Like, that has nothing to do with you being black or somebody being white. It literally I don't disagree with you. I think there's definitely different standards of education just in, like, different areas of the states, bro. Like, where I went to fucking elementary school, we didn't even learn how to write in cursive. You know what I mean? I got into middle school and all my teachers were like, what do you mean they didn't teach you cursive? So, obviously, it has nothing to do with race.
Across the board.
I work with people every day that are out the north that have far excelled in
that's absolutely true.
Than we have in the
bad and worse.
There's
no good. Right. There's no good. There's shit in here. And what I'm saying is, here's something where we could find common. I've proposed this, many people have, where we go, look, instead of giving money to a school, like you say, some of these schools suck, right? Instead of just putting, let's say the average spending is $15,000 per student. That's a rounded number. It's anywhere from 13 to 50, okay? If instead of putting that money in the administrative costs at a school, what you do is you say, okay, that's a grant, that's a voucher that attaches to the student, and they can take it to any school they want, so they have to compete. So that kid can now choose where they go to school. Can't do it because it's racist. That's why it's been fought. People say black kids would still be stuck in shit schools than white kids.
Why? Well, see, that comes
because they wouldn't be able to transport themselves out of a bad neighborhood. Okay. But right now, they're stuck with one school.
My brain is gonna pop. Bro, my head legitimately hurts, man.
So when you start asking those whys and go down the rabbit hole of why and start asking, okay, well, why would somebody say that? Well, this is why.
Well, I'll tell you why they really say it. Because of teachers' unions.
Because of teachers' unions?
Yeah. It doesn't make. In other words, if a black kid right now has to go to one.
In certain communities where they don't have certain resources, it's a lot of kids. Once again, I've lived in. I've raised my kids, graduated 3 kids from. I've been afforded some things in this community that some people down south don't have.
Yeah,
right.
That's a fact.
And some of these school events, I'm questioning them like, how the hell y'all expect us to have jobs and still transport these kids to and from these events all throughout the day? But
bro, again, that has nothing to do with race, though, homie. Like, what the fuck are you even getting? What are you on about, bro? There's so many school trips and shit that we had that I wasn't able to go on because we ain't got the money for it. Like, don't come at me with that bullshit. Poverty is not a fucking racial thing.
If them people down there had to do it,
so you think what we're doing now is better?
Because they ain't got transportation. Half of them ain't got transportation.
I think we need to go back to the real truth and the real truth.
Because that's what I'm saying. Because they're in impoverished areas, and we already know, based on how we see.
So then how do we fix it? We have to pay for a
areas
car,
don't even
a
have
house?
grocery stores.
No, of course not.
Those same
Oh,
areas
that's
don't.
horseshit.
There's food
I see
deserts.
everyone
Come
here.
on now, you don't know
Everyone here
about
has a
food deserts.
smartphone. You can literally order any food that's ever existed on Earth to any municipality cheaper.
All these motherfuckers got a smartphone, and homie on the right over there in the Jersey's got, I don't know, 100K worth of fucking jewelry just sitting on him. Come on, bro. How much your fucking glasses over here cost? Don't.
If you're in an area that already has a lack of resources and you're already low income, how you gonna order something?
Amazon, one click.
But see, here's the deal.
We're talking about food deserts in 2025. Come on.
I think there's a broader problem that we will not discuss. And you know what that is? You've got to go all the way back. This has been an insidious process that's been at work. And the bad part about it is, as
systemic.
long as we as white and black America keep fighting.
That shit gets on my nerves as much as the whole patriarchy bullshit, man. Like, holy, hammer of the gods, bro.
Among each other, we'll never see the big picture. You go back to 1982 under Charlotte T. Smith, who was the Department of Secretary under Ronald Reagan, Department of Education. She wrote a good expose many years later called The Deliberate Dumbing Down of America. She kind of patterned that after that B.F. Skinnerian behavioral modification, and it ties all into the founder before the Department of Education, which was General Education Board, where they say, you know what, we don't need more painters, we don't need more artists, or we don't need more poets. We just want good cogs in a wheel that are easily taught that we can mold under our own hand. That mantra still holds true today. So you got to look at that. You got to look at where we.
I'm one of those people that's going to look you dead in the face and say, I do believe that Henry Ford had a hand in the whole education system and did want, just laborers. He wanted people who would come out of the education system and be able to work on an assembly line. Again, nothing to do with race.
We come from a nation that was industrious and coupled with innovation to now everybody tends to do things like you say with your smartphone. You know why? Because pictures keep you from looking at things contextually. All right. So when you think about this educational system, you got to go back to what changed in this educational system and why we're where we are. Because you can't just simply say, yeah, but you can't just simply say that everybody wants to be dumb or everybody in the South.
I didn't say everybody wants to be dumb.
Okay. Well, tell you this too. Here's another problem why scores are so much lower in this country, especially when you talk about black America.
Because money doesn't fix a problem. It's that
money doesn't.
We've thrown money at the problem and it doesn't do shit.
Solve the problem at the core root of it and start reforming the real academia. All right, that's where you solve the. So you know what you tell people? We're gonna operate in the.
So by your own logic, we need to take out the DEI. We gotta not give people places in these colleges that don't deserve it.
System of meritocracy. God damn it, you will eat what you kill. If you're giving you $50,000 to go to school and you decide that you don't want to, or you fail to adhere to what's being presented before you, then shame on you.
I agree. You do away with DEI, you do away with the sex affirmative action, you do away with all of it. Eat what you kill.
Do away with DEI, but make it fair across the board.
But that's what I'm saying.
I agree.
If you're gonna do away with
DEI is what makes it unfair across the board, my guy.
If you're going to do away with DEI, you got to make sure that the merits are properly being counted. Because the reason why DEI was invented, reason why affirmative action was invented is...
I'm trying so hard to keep my goddamn mouth shut, man. What you're about to say is not the reason why DEI was invented. It's the opposite, and because people cried about it.
Because you'd have two qualified candidates, same qualifications, but one would get in strictly because his name was Johnny and the other one's name was Jamal. Well, we're gonna take Johnny. Because naturally, Johnny's gonna be better at it, but they got the same qualifications. That's why affirmative action was instituted in the first place.
DEI came in because of shrinking white feminists wanted to claim credit.
That's a snapshot you can present it in, but
I agree with you. I agree.
That's a snapshot you can present it in, but I'm just saying, like, the reason why.
No, what I'm saying is,
you go down to ask why.
I'm being flippant, but the truth is, black people were being admitted in record numbers if they had the same qualifications before DEI and affirmative action. White shrieking feminists wanted to take credit for something that was already happening because people had become less racist, so they can say, tag my white name on there, DEI. See what I did?
Yeah. White liberal women want to take credit for everything. They're the scourge of this nation, I swear to you.
For black people, it's white guilt. And what I'm trying to tell you is young people who have nothing to do with any of this, their guilt is running out, and you can't escape the violent murder rate. You can't escape them losing opportunities and being blamed for being racist when they're not. And you want those kids to pay reparations? You're creating a generation of racists. That's what's going to happen. And it's not right.
And then you're going to have...
We're not creating DEI.
Then you're going to have...
We as a black...
Again, the only one getting irritated, the only one irritating.
Black community, we're not creating a generation of racists. You know who's creating that generation of racists?
Here we go.
Those older white people are feeding that into their kids. See, all white people are not racist. I don't believe that.
No, of course not.
But the ones that come from families that have that inherent gene or trait in them, they're passing that on.
How?
See, I look at this, the gentleman.
Racism's a gene now, guys.
The gentleman that got killed, Charlie, he was killed by a white man, a young white man, right? From the generation that you're talking about that's getting fed up.
Well, he was also banging a
now, his dad had one ideology. He followed another ideology. That's out the same household. He didn't come from nowhere black. He wasn't.
What are you talking about? You literally just said that it's the ideology of the fucking parents, the older generation teaching the younger generation, and now you're out here saying like, oh, well, he took a different ideology than his father. You're... Oh my god, man. Oh, Hammer of the Gods by the Eye of Odin, bro. How can anybody take you seriously?
Hang around with no bunch of black people.
I know, I agree. I'm not saying
that mindset. His daddy put whatever was into him. His dad either put that into him or his rebellion from his father caused him to think like that.
Brother, that kid's problem's the same as liberal white women. Like, that's the issue. And when I say liberal white women, obviously, you know, I'm being in jest here. It's not all just like liberal white women, but it's just the funniest way to say it, because when you look at a lot of these liberal white women, look at the dumbass people saying they're going to convert to Islam because Islam is a fucking religion of peace and this and that. Are you literally retarded? Like, you're going to go cover up your face and go hang out with a dude who has 3 other wives because that's the religion of peace? Like, you're fucking stupid. But it's suicidal empathy. It's all it is. It's just pure suicidal empathy, you know? And it's... Oh my god, man. Fucking...
And we're not creating that. Black people
that has nothing to do with them. I agree with you.
You ever seen over in Africa, you see an elephant with a bird riding on his back. That elephant ain't worried about that bird because that bird not stopping him from doing the thing he
That bird don't carry a fucking gun, bro.
Want to do. We're the bird.
No.
We're the bird.
You're not the bird.
Stopping white America from doing anything.
You know what? The bird just burned down $4 billion worth of cities and 60,000 assaults.
No.
And a young white kid.
The bird might get blamed for it.
Right.
The bird is half as big as the elephant.
Steve, you act like it's only blacks that was burning it down.
What about the Black Wall Street?
You know what I said earlier, and you listen to is when you have a young white person going, okay, why is this happening? And people go, Black Lives Matter. And they go, well, hold on a second. I have an opinion on Black Lives Matter. They go, well, sit down, shut up. Okay, now silence is violence. And that kid goes, well, what do I do? By the way, you're on the hook for reparations, even though his father, his grandfather, his great-great-grandfather didn't own a slave, and he's still 12 times more likely to be killed by a black person the other way around.
100%. And like, even furthermore, that there was that whole thing with the fucking the Black Panther movie, and like just trying to go see the fucking Marvel movie and having people tell you this movie's not for you because you're white. Fuck you. That's racism.
You're going to. What I'm saying is, society is going to create a generation of racists. What do you say to that young white kid? What do you say to him?
Stop watching. Stay off of TikTok.
Stop reading stats.
Stop paying attention to what these talking heads are saying.
Right. Only believe what we tell you. Only believe what the left says. Only believe what the Democrats are pushing into you. Don't care about facts. Just go on feelings. That's what you want us to do. That's just fucking. That's retarded, bro.
Because they're leading you down the wrong path. They're leading you down a path of paranoia and conspiracy theories.
What if their interactions with black people in general are quite negative?
Well, we're in it now, and we're going to continue next Thursday, October 16th, on the next installment of Black and White on the Gray Issues.
Do you realize that you could take all the white...
As a day before my birthday, you better believe... Oh, that's tomorrow. You better believe I'm going to be watching that one, too. Oh, God, man. I guess I like getting angry at stuff.
People in this country. And if you're going to add up everyone where you could actually trace the lineage to slave owners or had any involvement, you would end up with maybe 2 or 3%. You shouldn't be getting anything. And Charlie Kirk shouldn't be shot.
So my question is,
well, how is this? What is it? How is this relevant? So here's something that's important, right? Because Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Let's be clear about this, and we're both agreeing because people believed a lie.
Somebody got to get them.
He's not wrong, and I want to point out something too. At the beginning, he said that he will slump his shoulders and stuff like that to come across as non-threatening to other people, this, and that. He's still sitting down while all these other guys are standing up, literally standing over him. And he's not combative. He's not nothing, that's, I'll be the first to tell you, I'm pretty impressed by his reactions and by his ability to speak.
Potatoes out the ground. Somebody got to do that. White people not gonna do that.
Of course we will.
Once again, when the work got hard, that's when they went and got slaves.
Yeah, white people don't know hard work. Can I ask you something real talk? While we're having real talk, why do young black men fight in packs?
Say what again? Say what?
Well, that was certainly something. I stand by what I said. I love this country and I'd do anything for this country. I love my state, do anything for the state. God bless America, Odin bless America, man. Fucking whatever you believe in. Wild. Love you guys. Like and subscribe if you're into it. Check out my Twitter, X, whatever it's called now.